Helping to conduct Tzu Chi's home visitations, village secretaries in Fuding, China are emotionally inspired. As Taiwan's industrial waste is incinerated at the same sites as household waste, we investigate the problems it is causing. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary-Lee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. To prepare for the rapidly approaching winter aid distribution in China, Tzu Chi volunteers in Fujian have begun home visitations to learn the needs of recipients in Fuding. Volunteers were especially concerned this year as two strong typhoons hit the area in mid-September, making them quite eager to check on the safety of the care recipients. Checking on the condition of this recipient's rice supply and mattress, Tzu Chi volunteers had heightened concerns as two typhoons in mid-September brought flooding to this region. Helping to conduct the winter distribution survey with Tzu Chi volunteers, Ding Zuohe has been the village secretary of Houjing village for the past 9 years. He had an opportunity to relocate to the big city, but he couldn't bear to leave these heartwarming villagers behind.
I'm torn, really. There are a few times I wanted to leave, but these farmers are easygoing and passionate. They remember every little thing you do for them in their heart. I find it hard to leave.
At 27 years of age, Li Zhanghui is the secretary of Nanbei village. The time he spent with Tzu Chi on his day off ultimately inspired him to join Tzu Chi.
As the village secretary, I haven't even visited some of these residents living in remote regions. I'm especially touched by Tzu Chi volunteers who made such an effort.
Many of the aid recipients say they have seen Tzu Chi volunteers more often than their own family.
You came to give me a gift and kept me company. I'm overwhelmed.
Fuding's 327 Tzu Chi volunteers spent 5 days visiting their care recipients. Among them, one recipient was wearing a Tzu Chi shirt. With winter rapidly approaching, the next time these recipients will see Tzu Chi volunteers will be at the year-end winter distribution. In Thailand, the annual 9 Emperor Gods Festival is a time that many adopt a vegetarian diet. To encourage more participants to celebrate the 9-day festival, as well as learn about the benefits of vegetarianism, Bangkok Tzu Chi volunteers prepare vegetarian lunch boxes for office workers. After receiving a handmade lunch, many were surprised to find out how delicious a vegetarian meal could be. The annual 9 Emperor Gods Festival is underway once again, leading many religious organizations to take to the streets to celebrate. However, Tzu Chi volunteers in Bangkok are actually going into the kitchen to make delicious meals. Later, their tasty vegetarian lunch boxes are delivered to banks and other public institutions.
The vegetarian meals purchased elsewhere are often too oily. Tzu Chi's lunchbox isn't. It's quite delicious. Last year, not many people participated in the festival. But this year, with Tzu Chi's vegetarian lunches being offered, more people have joined.
I love eating vegetarian food, but there aren't many places where I can eat vegetables. I'm grateful Tzu Chi has provided us with a vegetarian option.
During the 9 Emperor Gods Festival, Thai people often abstain from meat. Now, thanks to Tzu Chi's promotion of vegetarian food, adhering to a vegetarian diet during this period now is even easier. According to statistics by the Ministry of Health and Welfare, of Taiwan's population in 2015, 760,000 people suffer from disabilities and impairments and cannot take care of themselves. Many of these include the homeless. Once the homeless become disabled, they are almost always taken care of by social organizations. Thus, the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital's nursing home has partnered with the Social Affairs Bureau to provide free patient care for disadvantaged individuals.
出院回来要喝牛奶啊，他在那个第一院区还没有喝啊。
你自己中饭吃了吗？
还没。有的喝午餐，有的 5餐，然后有的喝6餐。对，就是营养失调的。
Here at the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital's nursing home, caretakers always put their patients' needs first.
就服务自己的。
Like taking care of my own elderly at home, like family.
阿公，来洗澡哈，小心哦。
A friendly greeting warms the heart of Mr. Deng.
啊，伫遮敢有厝的人来甲你看？
无，我照顾人，你甲因关心，大家拢无当下。
When I first got here, I couldn't walk. It was after rehabilitation exercises that I could.
开始有呀。
67-year-old Mr. Zhen suffered a stroke which affected the right side of his body. After government subsidies, his out-of-pocket fees are still very substantial for someone who is homeless. Thankfully, Taichung Social Affairs Bureau has partnered with Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital's nursing home to provide 25 patient beds for disadvantaged individuals free of charge, with Mr. Deng being one of the beneficiaries. Each year, we budget over 10 million NT dollars to help the disadvantaged. Our care for them is the same as if they're paying patients. It's often higher than other medical facility standards. Our staff-to-patient ratio is 1 to every 8 patient.
身体向前，对，身体向前。
Mr. Lin used to be a chef, but a car accident left him nearly paralyzed. No longer able to work, the Social Affairs Bureau also referred him to Tzu Chi.
This allows me temporarily not to have to worry about the stress of finances. They take care of their patients here. It's what I've seen and felt myself.
感觉到。
With the success of his physical therapy, Mr. Lin has gained some mobility back as well as his smile. Wearing a diaper prohibits your movements. Experiencing what it is like being a disabled patient, these nurses and care attendants gain empathy for their patients. Thus, in the long run, they know that encouraging patients to feed themselves and not depend on adult diapers help these patients live with a bit of dignity. By 2025, Taiwan's renewable energy development is expected to create more than $31 billion worth of value. Many hope these developments can replace traditional coal and gas generators and nuclear power, providing a more secure and stable source of electricity for everyone. However, Taiwan's energy transformation will need to undertake a huge endeavor, as well as a number of supporting policies to turn this vision into reality.
23 million people, global high-tech city, huge high-voltage towers operating day and night, with a steady stream of power being distributed to people who need power. However, relying upon the single power transmission line running north and south in Taiwan can be risky.
A lot of our energy is coming from overseas. Approximately 98% of our energy comes from abroad.
Nearly 80% of Taiwan's electricity comes from coal and gas generators, with 15% coming from nuclear energy. But in the face of nuclear and air pollution threats, we must look to break the traditional mode of combustible power generation, finding new energy sources to avoid a power shortage crisis.
Done in a responsible way, and it's not, because it's not unlike an oil rig, it's not a potential source of pollution. Once it's there, it's very stable and provides a large amount of energy.
Facing the threat of power shortages, solar energy and offshore wind prospects are the most promising. But are these seemingly free and clear energy sources enough to guarantee Taiwan's future survival?
Solar energy and the offshore wind cannot solve the problem. This is too optimistic of a view. Just because you have this policy with no supporting measures means that enterprises which are encouraged to invest will soon die.
Offshore wind turbines have been hampered by the white dolphin controversy, as well as fishery rights, waterway disputes, substations, and submarine cables. Even the migration of solar panels from land to water has ignited another controversy regarding what sort of business can be operated above water. Even if these issues are all resolved, it will still be difficult to replace traditional coal and gas generators.
We are still dependent on coal-fired generators, but we must hurry up and improve their efficiency and at least lessen their impact on the environment.
The problem is that the first phase of National Energy Plan, with an investment of $930 million over 5 years, has resulted in renewable energy in the form of biogas and hydroelectric power, reaching just 1% and 2% of power supply respectively, and solar energy accounting for just 0.4%, and wind power just 0.7%. Long-term low energy prices continue to be the greatest impediment to renewable energy.
Shouldn't we consider adjusting electricity prices or the adjustment of an energy tax, which we can use to promote renewable energy?
In order to provide sufficient funds to carry out such an energy transformation, we need policy subsidies that should not come from the Treasury, but from a percentage of electricity prices.
In July 2014, Taipower began a pilot program allowing companies to buy green electricity. In 2015, the amount of renewable energy generated approaches 800 million kilowatts. Taipei 101 subscribed for 1 million kilowatts, and TSMC subscribed for 100 million kilowatts. In the future, after the adoption of draft amendments to the Electricity Act, Taipower's monopoly over power generation may be broken, allowing for opportunities for small and decentralized power systems.
The more dispersed the energy supplies, the more it can be digested easier with fewer problems with scheduling. But to do this, we will need to further decentralize power facilities.
After Taiwan develops renewable energy sources, diversification will become another very important factor that will need to be considered.
In the end, what will be the future of Taiwan's power? In the process of energy transformation, disparities could see companies respond to international demand and go elsewhere.
If you're lagging in the race, that increases your risk. Companies could decide to go elsewhere where they see utilities thinking more creatively and being more aggressive about their investments in renewables.
When the sun goes down, will solar energy still be able to light up Taiwan? And when the winds stop, will turbines still be able to generate electricity? Will green energy be able to save us and provide a future energy supply that is safe and secure? These are the questions that we'll all have to answer very soon.
In 1991, the Taiwan government began a policy of incinerating waste to address the overwhelming landfill problem. With 24 incinerators across the country, none are dedicated to industrial waste, but mostly household waste. However, Taiwan's industrial waste accounts for 40% of the incinerated garbage. The end result is that more of the country's ash and slag become contaminated with heavy metal and other impurities. Follow our report as we further investigate the problem this causes.
We check this garbage to see if anything can be recycled or is not suitable for incineration. If so, the entire vehicle is rejected.
An excavator digs out this garbage, which is then sorted by sanitation workers who wear masks to shield them from the odor.
The sanitation team processes household garbage to separate items that are non-combustible, such as these large quilts and big pieces of furniture, all of which are not allowed to enter the incinerator.
Computers and TVs can be incinerated. If they are, they will generate dioxin, so they have been prohibited at incinerators.
Small amounts of prohibited rubbish still make it through to the incinerators. Burning plastic garbage can release poisonous dioxin.
Dioxins at a temperature above 850 degrees Celsius will be completely decomposed. We maintain our incinerator at around 1,000 degrees Celsius.
After incineration, 20% of the garbage remains, with 15% being slag and 5% being fly ash.
Household waste and individual waste after incineration leaves 15% slag, which contains heavy metals and impurities. The EPA classifies it as general waste.
Incinerator slag should be designated as industrial waste.
especially because our incinerators receive a lot of industrial waste, which results in lots of slag. So how can it be classified general waste? The EPA classifies both fly ashes and slag as general waste, which I believe is a problem.
Taiwan's industrial waste accounts for 40% of total garbage for incineration.
Incinerating industrial waste leads to more slag and ash as it's more difficult to control and will lead to increased operating costs.
Kaohsiung, which is known as an industrial city, the ration of industrial waste ratio is more than half of total garbage.
The cost of incinerating industrial waste is quite high, while the cost of incinerating household waste is quite small. So there is quite a large disparity.
Household waste incineration per ton costs about $32, while it is more than $64 for industrial waste, which is double the price. Taiwan's absence of incinerators designed to process industrial waste has meant that all incinerators accept industrial waste.
Manufacturers give us industrial scraps which we burn in the incinerator, causing toluic acid to dissolve along with bisphenol A, while Taiwan's incinerator residue is quite close to being designated as toxic waste.
Incinerator slag has become a hot potato issue, but in fact, current incineration of waste is much healthier than Taiwan's past landfill practices.
Taiwan has a very limited amount of space, so it's very difficult to set up landfills.
The lack of landfill space beginning in 1991 led the government to build 24 incinerators as Taiwan's garbage processing migrated to incinerator-based processing, with landfills playing a supplementary role. Last year, Taiwan's total waste amounted to 6.5 million tons, resulting in 970,000 tons of incinerator residue which was sent for reprocessing, leading to just 70,000 tons being put into landfill.
This incinerator slag, which is unprocessed and directly sent to landfills to be buried, often contains more impurities.
Taiwan's early days of incineration didn't see and treatment for incinerator residue as it was directly put into landfill. After the government began its incineration plan, it reduced the total amount of garbage volume by 80%, but incinerator slag was illegally dumped throughout Taiwan. In our next episode, we will take a look at the impact upon agricultural areas, fisheries, and residential areas.
In Taiwan's Miaoli, a brother and sister pair has won Tzu Chi's New Shoot scholarships for their academic performance and filial nature towards their mother, who is originally from Vietnam. They lost their father while young, and the two help out around the house, doing chores. Let's meet the two children.
Lu Jun likes to play the ukulele for his mother, as happiness is the best medicine for her poor health. Lu Jun has learned how to be filial from watching his sister Lu Qing, who helps around the house.
When I'm not home, she will cook. She takes out the vegetables and make a meal with it.
When it's oily, dish detergent is needed. I want to wash the dishes. This way, my mother won't have to do as much.
Not long ago, Mrs. Huang went scavenging at a construction site and got into an accident. When Lu Qing saw her mother hurt from trying to make money for the family, her heart was broken.
When I came home, I saw my mother's face was bandaged up. She had stitches and her shirt was bloodied. I asked her what happened and she said she got into an accident. I was really worried. Now that her health has declined, my brother and I should help out around the house so she's not overworked.
After losing her father, besides their mother's care, the two children have also gained the loving care of Tzu Chi volunteers. Thanks to their outstanding performance at school, the two siblings have won the honor of receiving Tzu Chi's New Shoot scholarship. The family doesn't have a television nor a camera. Getting together for a family picture, the children are quite shy, but they know their mother is quite proud of them.
Staying in Miaoli, in today's piece on Project Hope of Disaster Risk Reduction, we will take a look at Toufen's Ho Zhang Elementary. The school there is now only 50 years old and starting to fall apart, but the student population in the area is also quickly rising. Despite the unsafe structure, the school is now the second largest elementary school in the area. Tzu Chi is providing prefab classrooms for the students while the school completes its reconstruction.
The students arrange themselves on the basketball courts in the shape of a smiley face to welcome us. These are the students at Toufen Hozhuang Elementary School. In the past few years, thanks to the opening of the Zhunan Science Industrial Park, the population in the area has grown quickly, increasing student enrollment at the elementary. But the old elementary is facing the problems of a deteriorating building as well as a lack of classrooms. Hozhuang Elementary was built 50 years ago. The classrooms at the rear of the building are already a danger and can no longer be used.
The underside is breaking off badly. After the exterior falls off, the interior steel is exposed to air, and it will rust and start to crack.
On the days when there is rain, only half of the classroom can be used, and everyone worries about keeping dry.
Even just a little rain, and it will start to seep it. The students keep busy running around wiping up the water puddles.
We have to keep mopping the floor like this.
The school's music club was established 20 years ago and has won multiple awards. Now they have medals to show, but no adequate space to practice in.
The front of my trombone hit the saxophone in front of me, but if I turn the other way, I will be in the percussion area. There is not enough space.
This was originally a full classroom, but it has been subdivided into 2 smaller rooms, so the space is really tight.
After a recent inspection of the 2-story school building, it was determined that the safety rating was very low and that the structure should not be used after the current year. The school has applied to the Miaoli government for funds to rebuild the school, but until work is completed, 7 prefab classrooms offered by Tzu Chi will be constructed on the basketball court for the students to use.
After they are all covered, our students can use the prefab classrooms to study. There will be a temporary but safe and stable place for them to continue their studies.
新教室比较漂亮，也比较是新教室比较酷。
The students are really looking forward to using the new classrooms. The school is eager to provide a clean and safe environment for the children to continue their studies. And Tzu Chi is grateful for the opportunity to help this school by offering the prefab classrooms during the transitional period.
At the Tzu Chi Kindergarten in Pantai Indah, students and teachers hit the pavement to spread Jingsi aphorisms to the community. Thanks to the students' efforts, these wise words have been plastered throughout the shop windows. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.